Life speaks. It speaks through struggles and success, through music and messages, the preconceived and the unexpected. Whether you are in the depths of the valley or in the midst of your mountaintop experience, everyone needs to be encouraged from time to time. Here we will share stories of strength, testimonies of triumph, verses of victory, observations, and information meant to touch the heart and uplift the soul, to keep you on your path of purpose and navigate this thing called life with power and authority. This is Andrea Hines, and I'm your host for When Life Speaks, here on ALH Broadcasting, an affiliate of the Streaming Inspirational Broadcast Network. I am glad you accepted the invitation to join us tonight. There's something in this broadcast just for you, and if it is going to be a blessing to your life, it will be to someone else as well. So share, tag, start a watch party, and invite someone you know to join us. Then turn down the volume of life and get ready to receive, so that when life speaks, you'll speak life. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to When Life Speaks. I'm so glad that you're going to be with us tonight. As you can tell, I have a different co-host tonight. I have Miss Francina Booker with me tonight.
Hello, everybody. Welcome.
I tell you what. Hey, Ida, good evening to you, and good evening to you, Linda Cooks. I am laughing. I'm very tickled because, there is a saying that there is more than one way to skin a cat, right?
Yes.
And I tell you what, last week, Francina was going to be on with me. We had everything planned out. We had tested everything. We had tested mics. We had done everything that we thought we needed to do in order to bring you a great show. But as things would have it, as life would have it, we got ready to go on and things just were not working. And we were not able to get the show up and together the way that we wanted to, because we want to do things in excellence. At least we want to believe that we've done everything that we can possibly do to bring you a good show. And it just wasn't working. And I really did not want to do the show without Francina, because we had talked about it so much and talked about the things we were going to talk about. And I wanted that to happen. And she kept saying, no, you go ahead. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. We will just wait. And we decided that rather than trying to do this from two remote locations, we would just come together and we would talk to you together. So that is exactly what we planned for tonight. And looks like that's going to work for us tonight.
Yes, thank you.
Hey there, Macy. Good to have you on the line with us tonight. Well, we have an interesting topic. It is interesting for us, and we think that it will be interesting for you because it has to do with getting older. And we kind of call this this segment Senior Sidebar. We're going to take a little poetic license there, Senior Sidebar. And we want to talk about some things that are important to seniors like ourselves. And some of you, I'm talking about you. I am talking about you. But some of you out there, and those of you who have not reached senior status yet, as my father used to say, just live long enough. We hope that you live long enough to become a senior. And if nothing else, we want you to gain a better understanding of what the senior population goes through, what we go through, what we look for, what we look at, the things that are important to us, and some interesting tidbits and notes and things that we think are important as we are still traversing this thing that we call life. So we wanted to start out by simply talking about those things that we enjoy as seniors, those things that are challenging for us as seniors, and just debunk some of the myths that people have, like seniors have no filter. You know, they talk about us all the time and say, you just say what you want to say and you don't care whether you hurt people's feelings or not. And no, that's not really true. And that doesn't have anything to do with age. The people that I know who are unkind were always unkind. It's not because they have gotten older that they've become unkind. That's just a part of their personality. So we were talking today about it. And Francina, I'm going to kind of let you go first. And what are some of the things that you really, really enjoy about being a senior or part of the senior population?
The perks that you get when you are a senior. I love it. Going to different stores, acknowledging, yes, I'm a senior. Do you have a senior citizen discount? Get things a little cheaper. I also just like, because I'm growing old gracefully, and also I thank God that I'm allowed to be a senior.
Amen.
That, and not a lot of us can attest to that. So that's something good. And then I look good. Thank you.
As I said before, some things have nothing to do with age. She was feisty when she was in her 30s, and she's feisty now.
True.
So it had nothing to do with how old she is. But I understand that, Francina, and I do. At first, when I heard about AARP, and I was telling somebody earlier today, I was a little offended. I thought, I'm not even 50 and I'm getting, all this stuff about AARP. But I did not understand some of the things that AARP will offer you, and some of the things that, as you say, the perks that come with being a senior. So I like that. I like when we were talking right before the show, I like the history of it all. When I think of the things that I have witnessed in my lifetime and in my life's journey, some good, some bad. We were saying things like, "Where were you at the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King, and where were you when President Kennedy was assassinated, and where were you when the Challenger exploded? Where were you at 9/11? Where were you?" And these are things that allow us to pass down to the generations coming behind us, to say not only where we were, but how we dealt with some of these things, and why some of these things are important, why we look at things the way that we look at them, like going to vote and being a part of that and seeing where that whole process came from and why it is. Hey there, Bernice. Good evening. Good to have you on with us tonight. So I like that. I enjoy that. And I enjoy that life has given us a fair amount of wisdom. We don't have to fall in the rabbit hole all of the time to get it. There's some life lessons that we have learned, and we are committed to lifelong learning. And there are just some things that we are able to do better. Yes. That we couldn't do before. So those are some of the things I like. Did you have another one that you wanted to bring
Another
up?
thing, I used to like to sit down with my grandparents and just listen to them talk about, but we also say now, back in the day,
right?
The things that they dealt with, and I look at the things, like she was telling me about picking cotton, and I look at that and I'm like, what? You old. When she tell me those stories, but they were good stories because she had a lot of wisdom, and things that I'm able to carry on when I got older, to pass on to my children as well. So they have a lot of wisdom, and I like that because I myself feel that I have excuse me, y'all, a little wisdom myself, to pass on to my children. And as they get older, to pass on to theirs. So, wisdom. I just like the stories.
Yeah. And we are creating our own.
Yes.
We're creating our own, as are some of our listeners out there. Now, when we talk about challenges for the senior population, I got a long list. I have a long list of challenges, and I'll start by the one that we had last week. Technology. Technology is a challenge, and it's a challenge for any number of reasons. And one of the things is the other challenge that I think that seniors face, and that is people who have a lack of patience. They just, it takes a little longer. It takes me a little longer to grasp certain things. And what is difficult about that, I need you to tell me what it is. And I need you, this is technology now we're talking about, and I need you to allow me to do it. Because it's something like with me putting my hands on whatever it is that helps me to learn. But the younger generation gets frustrated with that. And let's say I've got something that I want to figure out on my phone. And if I ask the same thing more than twice, somebody will take the phone and do it and then give it back to me. And I'm like, I may be a little slower, but I'm capable of learning, So, give me a break and kind of walk through some things with me. You find that, you shaking your head, you find that happening to you too?
Yes. Impatient, like you said, impatient, but also no respect.
Yes.
Yes. Don't think that they look at you sometimes like you're dumb. You don't know what you're doing. And that's, like you said, it may take me a little longer to grasp, but allow me the opportunity and the time to be able to do that. Yes, I'm a little slower, but it's okay. It's not I'm slow because I'm dumb. It's slow because I'm not aware. I'm not used to it, and I still have problems with technology today. Still have problems. Still a lot of things that I don't know. So there's sometimes I have to Google.
Google is our friend.
Google, to help me, because sometimes, like you said, with them being impatient, they don't want to take the time to help you because everything is so quick. So my thing is, okay, it's okay. Thank you. I'll figure it out myself, and that's what we got to do sometimes. So.
And have you ever been, and we've kind of talked about this on a program before, but being dismissed? And by that, I mean, I will be somewhere with my daughter or my granddaughter, and I will ask a question and they will pose the answer to them. And that used to happen with me with my mom. I take her to the doctor or something, and she'd say, well, let's say, for example, how many times am I supposed to take this pill? And the nurse would look at me and say, it's best when you, and I'd say, wait a minute, she asked you the question and she is standing right here. So she is quite capable of hearing the answer. So, that kind of thing is something that will bother me as I get older. That bothers me because, again, it's almost like an assumption that all of a sudden you don't understand anything. Right. You don't understand what's going on. You don't understand what's happening. But those are just, a couple of the things that are challenges. So when you are dealing with a member of the senior population, just kind of be aware. Just kind of be aware of those things and really watch what's happening. Bernice said, I think parking in public places is a challenge for seniors with mobility issues. Woo, you said a mouthful right there.
Yes, indeedy.
You said a mouthful right there, Bernice. And it's anything like that, anything that, because mobility issues just simply they come upon you. You can't get out of the car as quickly. You can't move as fast. And it seems like everybody behind you is in a rush, to get where they want to go or to do whatever it is that they are trying to do. And I just encourage people when they are dealing with the senior population, or you see somebody that's a senior, just, kind of take a step back. Take it a little slower, take it a little easy, or perhaps ask to assist.
Right.
We don't mind.
Right.
We
Right.
don't mind a little help every now and then, as long as it's done in the right spirit and done in the right way. In the right way. And we also had talked about
Wait a minute. One
Go ahead.
thing. When you was talking about that, I remember in New York when we would ride the subways or the buses, and you have senior citizens that come on the bus, and you got a younger person or someone that's capable. Do you think that they will get up and let the senior sit down? No, somebody had to say something, and then they would have an attitude. You know, and that was something that I really disliked. It really got me. I thought that they deserved better than that.
But don't you think, Francina, that that's just part of what we call the good old-fashioned home training? You know, just the courtesy of it all, that is missing. I think just missing in today's society.
And it is, because you got to look back at where we're at now. Back then, we had the grandmothers were grandmothers. You know, now we got younger grandmothers that out there trying to hang and party with the children. You know, want to be young, so they're not reared up
right
as we were. You know, so therefore there is no discipline. I'm not gonna say all, but for a lot, there is no discipline.
Right.
You know, you got children raising children, so they don't know what it's like. But they will one day.
Just live long enough.
One day.
Live long enough. Bernice said, "Don't park in the handicapped parking if you don't have a mobility challenge." Bernice, I don't understand why that is, and if there is somebody who has logged in that can help me understand that, I wish that they would. There is just, I don't know that they really comprehend how important that is for people who, like you say, have mobility issues. You know, that there is an attitude, well, I'm not going to be here long. I'm just going to pull up in here. I'm going to run in the store and I'm going to come right back out. Or they just don't seem to. Maybe it is just a matter of respect. I don't know. What do you think? If you have an opinion as to why that is that the handicap spaces are not respected, go ahead and type it in the comment section, because I really would like to explore that a little bit, because it happens so often. And I'm a lot of times with people and I'll say, why are you doing that? You know, why? Well, there are other places that we can park and we can go, or if don't do it for me, you know, if you have to, just let me out and you know, go ahead and park somewhere else. So I think there are those little things that add up and to be big things in the long run that we really don't pay attention to, and we need to.
I'm gonna tell you what I had someone tell me when I had asked that question, because I'm gonna be honest with you now. Back in the day, I did that one time. Parked in there because I was running into the store, and I came back out and I had a $250 ticket. It was like he was waiting for me, and that was the end of that. But I've also heard people say, "Well, I see some of the handicapped people, they parking in the regular spaces. Why don't they park in the handicapped space if there's an issue?" And my thing, it may not have been a handicap parking available. You know, so I've had that, but like I said, I've done it once
at $250,
and it was around Christmas time at that.
Oh,
but now I'm gonna tell you, I do have a handicap sticker, and there are times when I do have to park in there because I have problems with my gait. I have an unsteady gait. Sometimes my legs buckle, and sometimes if I'm walking long distance, even though I be out here on the track and stuff, and I walk and I run, I still have some issues. I have arthritis. So there are times when I say no. If I know I can, then I walk. You know, but if there, like I said, there are some challenges. But I understand, because my thing is you never know.
Right.
You never know.
Right. Well, Carmen, thank you. You're just joining us tonight, and we're talking about Senior Sidebar. We got some things for seniors and things for those who will one day be seniors. We pray they live long enough to enjoy some of the things that we are enjoying as part of the senior population. But I want to talk about just very briefly a big myth about the senior population. And I am going to put this out. Senior folk are busy folk. We are. This lady right here, I just don't even know. Every time I talk to her, she's either going out of town or coming back from being out of town. And I'm like, where do you go? You got to tell me where are you going and what are you doing? But so many times things will happen. And if there is a need, they'll say, well, call one of the seniors because they're at home. And I'm like, what makes you think that every senior is at home waiting to get a phone call to go volunteer to do something? Now, Carmen, I know your mom. Your mom is a beast. I mean, she is out there. She is exercising. She is traveling. She is living her life. She's doing any number of things. And I just wish that more people would realize the fact that we have busy lives. We're not all depressed. We're not all just kind of sitting around wishing that the phone would ring. We do a lot of things and we enjoy the things that we do. And some of you need to come along with us sometimes so that you can see what's really happening out there in the single life, Let's see. I think we caught up everything. Yeah. So keep that in mind, guys. Keep that in mind when you are looking for assistance in some things. Tap into a millennial. Tap into somebody that you perceive has a lot of energy. Don't be looking for us all the time. Yeah, I know, Ida. I know. Yes, Linda says so many stereotypes towards seniors. They really, really are. Don't miss. Don't forget anything. Don't ever forget anything. Now, I remember I was in my late 30s, I think. I was still working for IBM, and I was going through the airport with my manager who was over 60. And we were talking about something, and the thought that I had, the next thing I was getting ready to say, I forgot it. I mean, just mid-sentence, it just went away. And I said to him, I said, is this what it's like getting older? And he said, exactly. It's just like that, just like that. And sometimes you just lose your thought. You lose your train of thought. It does not mean you have Alzheimer's. It does not mean that you have dementia. It just means that you're getting older. You're just getting older. So, kind of steer clear of those kinds of things. Give it a minute, a beat. Sometimes the thought comes back, sometimes it doesn't. But you don't have to be a senior citizen for that to happen to you. So just keep that in mind as well. I want to be sure that I mentioned that. And if any of you who are listening tonight have a stereotype that you want to mention or want us to explore while we're on the air, just go ahead and put it in the Carmen said happens to me now. But just put that in the comment section and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that a little bit. We're going to move on to some things. One thing we wanted to talk about was safety issues. And this is a lot of this is geared towards and steered towards seniors. But I find that it happens with a lot of people. From a physical standpoint, we have to be aware. We have to be aware. We have to be aware of our surroundings. And one thing about being a senior, you have passed that point of thinking that if I ask you where you're going, you're getting in my business, And if you ask a younger person, well, where are you going, or how long would you? I don't need to tell you that because I don't want you in my business. It's not a matter of being in your business. These are very treacherous times out here, and sometimes you may start somewhere and you may not make it there, and the first thing they're going to say, what did the person have on? Where were they headed? Who is it that they were going to be around? Did they have an estimated time of return? These are simply safety questions, and I used to tell, my grandson a lot when he would go out in particular, I don't, it's not about who you're going with. And it's not really about all the time where you're going. It's that you're going.
Mhm.
When you get ready to leave the house, say, I'm leaving the house. Say, I'll probably be back in a couple of hours. Say those things, because life is not easy for Black men in America.
Mhm.
And a lot of times it is just simply helpful to know that, it's 4 o'clock in the morning and you said you'd be back at 10. No phone call, no nothing. You hear about accidents, you hear about shootings, you hear about all of these things. Help to keep the lives of those around you stress free by letting somebody know your whereabouts, giving somebody just a little bit of information, so that no one will be worried about you.
Mhm.
And that is the main thing. And for seniors, it's the same thing.
Mhm.
It's the same thing. People are uh, pulling you over, saying that they are police officers when they're not. They are contacting you, uh, requesting information from you, and they are not from where they say they are. And that's one of the biggest scams that is out here now, that is targeting senior citizens. Uh, People trying to make you think they are trying to help you, particularly in the banking industry now. It's really crazy. But people are calling saying there's been fraudulent activity on your account, and they attempt to get information from you to help you. And what they're really doing is trying to take that information and take your identity. Bernice said one thing is stereotypical for seniors is that he or she can no longer drive when they get over a certain age. Oh, Bernice.
That's a good one.
Oh, Bernice. I told
That's the truth.
somebody one of the most difficult things to do is to be a passenger in your own car.
Mm-mm-mm.
That is one of the hardest things to do, is to be a passenger in your own car. And there's some things that we have to admit to ourselves. I have to admit, and had to come to grips with the fact that I simply don't drive well at night.
But it's not a senior thing. There's
True.
some young ones that don't drive good
True,
at
you're
night.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But I'm not going to pretend that I can anymore.
Yeah, I understand that.
And that's the thing. And that leads me to something else. Help a senior out. Help a senior out.
There you go.
If you know that I don't drive well at night, ask me sometimes. Do you need to go somewhere? Do you need to pick something up? Can I take you somewhere? Be a little more sensitive to the senior. Adopt one.
Yes.
I'm on an adoption program. Bernice, you're finding that too? Yep. Just don't do it well anymore. But I'm really serious about that adopting a senior thing. And we kind of laugh about it. But there are many seniors out here who just sometimes need a call. They just need somebody to check on them. They need to still feel valuable. They know that they are. There are many things that you can share with a younger person. There are many things that I can share with the younger generation, and we don't always get the opportunity to do that. Back in the day, there were generations that lived under the same roof, and you had the opportunity to talk to Big Mama or talk to Papa. Or get their opinion or find out information from them that would be helpful. We don't have that. We don't live that anymore as much as we used to. Maybe some people do, but not as much as we used to. So sometimes it does well for you and for them to pick a senior, maybe somebody from your church, maybe somebody in your family, may just be a friend, neighbor, whatever, and make it a point to check on them on a regular basis. Make it a point. I have somebody here that is listening tonight that is very good about just calling me and saying, "Do you need something? Do you need something?" And another one that just, drove by the house and said, "Look, I left something on your front porch when COVID first came." You don't know what that does for somebody. Yes, you don't know how much that means to people to know that you're thinking about them and know that you care about them. We may live, in many cases, isolated lives, but it's not by choice. It's not always by choice. We like to be involved. Some of us like to travel a lot.
Yes. Keeps my sanity. And also because I live alone, sometimes it gets to you. So I don't have company, and I don't have a lot of people call me besides my children. So being able to get out and just to be amongst my peers, amongst other people, it feels good. I like it. And yes, I do like to travel.
Bernie said sometimes one fails to realize that you are considered a senior when you turn 55 years old. Bernie, in some cases it's 50. In some cases, in some situations, it is 50. And 50, let me say, is not old. It's not old. It is not the end of the world when you are 50. Right. Now, when you're 29, you think the end of the world is when you're 50. But when you are 49, you know good and well that's not true. And I think of the things that I have accomplished. I was looking at some bio information the other day. My books were written, my very first book was written after I was 50. Not before, after I was 50. I got my coaching certification after I was 50. Most of the major milestones in my life occurred after I was 50. So if you are a senior, or if you know of a senior, do not put the tag on them that life is over, because you have reached that milestone half a century age. Boy, it makes you sound ancient. You think you played with Moses, but that is simply not the case. There is a lot of life left in you and a lot that you can do. There are so many ways that you can contribute to society, so many ways that you can contribute to your church, to your family, to those people who are around you. I didn't catch that. Linda said, be kind. One day you will get old too. So the things that we are talking about tonight are things that you're going to experience if you have not experienced it already. Angie. Life starts at 50. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Talk about living your best life now. You've learned enough and been through enough to be at a point of understanding that you can do a lot of things stress-free.
Yes.
Everything is not a priority. Everything does not have to be done right this minute. And the world is not going to fall apart if you don't do it right now. It just isn't. And I remember when I was younger and just had to keep this schedule and had to be everywhere at a certain time and had to make sure that this happened, had to make sure that that happened. And now I'm at a point in my life when I can say, gee, I missed that. And be okay.
And be okay.
And be okay. I didn't get that done today. Missed that. But I'm going to be okay. So let's see. Did you have any safety things that you wanted to talk about, Francina?
I did.
Or scams or anything
that
you had?
Well, we all know about the scams about the because I'm still getting them. I get them on my cell phone, But with the seniors, the sad thing about the scams is the way they go about it. They'll tell them about they're going to lose their home if they don't pay a certain amount. And with the seniors, some of them, they get nervous. They don't really fully understand. All they see is, I'm gonna lose my home, so I have to do this. But we, as the children, we need to get more involved. We need to, maybe set up that they only have if there are alerts on their accounts that if a certain amount of money is drawn out, that we know something right. Because I already know Mama, we pay her bills. This is taken care of. So why is she having this extra? Why is this extra money going out? Sometimes they said maybe we need to do away with their landlines and give them a cell phone. But the older generation, they like them landlines. They said that that's still technology, that they really not up to. So we just got to be more proactive. Families, and just checking on them, checking bank accounts, being on their accounts, so that we can, monitor what's being spent. And I think that would help them out as well.
Carmen says, Dr. Hines, talk about how you both are so proactive and stay engaged as seniors. You both have created your own opportunities. It's so awesome, regardless of age. I think there's no magic formula, Carmen. And I don't know how Francina would answer this. And I don't know that it has anything to do with it. But when you have been through an experience in your life, and I'll talk about it from this perspective, and I know that Francina feels the same way. When you have been through a life-threatening or life-altering situation of any kind, in our case, both of our cases, it had to do with cancer. Now, I can speak for me. It may not be the same for Francina, but when you face things like that, life becomes so precious, and every moment becomes so precious that you just don't want to waste any of it. You just don't want to waste any of it. You want to make the most of every day. You don't want to spend time on things that are petty. You learn to understand what is nice versus what is necessary. You draw closer to God because you begin to understand your relationship with Him on another level. And you also realize that and I take it this way, if He allows me to wake up in the morning, and we always say, this is the day that the Lord has made, I will rejoice and be glad in it. But if He has allowed me to wake up in the morning, He has something for me to do. And how dare I just kind of sit back and decide I'm not going to participate in life today. And we all have those days. Now, don't get me wrong. There are those days that I just want to eat buttered popcorn, let the butter run down to my elbow and get my remote and just look at one movie after another. We all have those days, but I don't live in that space. Right. I don't, pack up and decide that I'm going to find another space just like it. No, I want to, there are things I haven't experienced. There are things that I haven't seen. There are things that I haven't enjoyed that I still can. And I want to. So I think that for me, that's where a lot of that comes from, in this pandemic and losing so many people, and young, old, death doesn't, have
don't
any
discriminate.
no barriers on that. Then you do become more aware of how you're spending your time. What are you spending your time doing? We pray thy kingdom come, thy will be done. But what does that really look like? What does it really mean? And how am I making that happen? So I know that's kind of what keeps me staying engaged, and what keeps me from not letting too much grass grow, but to just, and having people around me who are younger than I am. Really. I mean, when you start talking to the generation below and the generation below that, and begin to try to understand how they live, how they think, what they do, what's important, what's
Mhm.
not. It puts you at a different place of understanding, and that always puts you at a place of wanting to learn more and understand more and grasp more. So that's always a helpful thing for me. What about you, Francine?
And for me as well, when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, it was like I seen my life flash before me. So many things I had took for granted. It was just automatic. I was able to do this, able to do that. And a lot of those things now are challenging for me.
Mm-hmm.
So every day that God opened up my eyes, I thank Him.
Mm-hmm.
I said, because this day, He's not through with me yet. He's still got a work for me to do. But I also look at it as a family standpoint, because out of my 4 siblings, I'm the only one that's still alive. My
Mm-hmm.
mother is also deceased. And so when my mother was alive, we always had a family unit. My mother was the center of everything. And now, so a lot of times everybody's looking to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to pull things together, trying to keep family together, trying to bring family together. And so my thing is, life is short. And my thing is, I'm going to live life to the fullest. Jesus, you gave your life that I might live life to the fullest, in abundance life.
Yeah.
I'm going to live it. And like I said, in every chance I get that God allowed me that I could travel and go somewhere, I'm going. I'm not letting no grass grow under my feet. Life is too short. But I also know that I have a purpose. And this
Mm-hmm.
mouth here, God has given me to use to make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I get out here and I advocate, for women, but I also advocate for men, advocate for cancer. And this is all types of cancer. But I also like to bring about an awareness.
Mm-hmm.
God's words, my people perish for lack of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Well, He's given me a platform, and that's with my different advocacy organizations and my support groups. So that keeps me busy. It keeps me going. But I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm more appreciative. And in spending my time with Him, I've learned that through this life experiences and challenges, ups and downs, that I've grown, that I've also matured.
Mm-hmm.
And my relationship with Him has really grown within, I could say, within the last 3-4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thankful. So yeah, I'm gonna keep busy as long as He allow me, and I got breath in
my
body.
Yeah,
I'm gonna continue to press.
Yep. We have a responsibility, I believe,
Yes.
that if God blesses us to see another year, to see another day, because there's some people who are here today that will not be here tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about making the best use of our time,
Mm-hmm.
making the best use of our day, I'm also reminded that it's not just all about us.
Right.
There are people who need to hear our stories. There are people who need to participate in some of the things that we participate in, sometimes just to have another view.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one day I want to have say 3 or 4 generations on and just throw something out there and hear how each generation responds, because we are more alike than we are different. We have more in common than we think, and we can really build a better world, I do believe. But some things that we do are a choice. You make a choice. You always make a choice in how you respond. I think it was Bishop Joe B. Brady that said you either respond through outward pressure or inward principle. And I've always remembered that, outward pressure or inward principle, because we say all the time, it's not so much what happens to us, it's how we react and how we respond. So how I react to the storms of life and how I respond to the tests and trials of life, which are going to come, make me who I am, shape what I say, orchestrate my conversations and all that. And just because I have reached a certain age or stage in life does not give me the right to be unkind, to be insensitive, to have a I say what I want to say attitude. That's not what that's about. That's not what those tests are for. They are so that we can uplift, so that we can encourage, so that we can inspire, so that we can assist, so that we can do all of those things. And we try. We try to do all of those things. Francina, it is 7:44
already.
Can you believe that?
Dang, we ain't been on here that long.
I'm telling you,
like,
what in the world?
Listen, and we just getting to the we ain't even touched what half.
We got a lot more to say. That's something else you find out about seniors. We talk a lot. We have a lot to say.
Yes,
we have a lot to say. And it's good. All of it is good. Really, really good. So you know what? This is something that we are going to revisit from time to time, like we have our time to deal with those who labor among you, and we have our time to deal with keeping faith flowing and all this. We're gonna keep up with our senior sidebar, and periodically either Francina will come back or we'll have another guest co-host on, and we're just going to talk about things that are important to seniors, and things that are important to those of you who know seniors, and things that are important to those of you who we hope and pray will get to be seniors. Mm-hmm. So they're nuggets that you can use, and nuggets that you can pack away, and nuggets that we pray will be helpful to you. One of the things that we didn't get to talk about was the health part.
And I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, we didn't get to the health part tonight. So the next time we get together, we're going to be talking about the foods that are good for you now, so that you can get to be a senior. Mm-hmm. There were things that I didn't pay attention to at all. When somebody told me that I would be able to retire after the year 2000, I thought, who's going to live that long? My gosh. I mean, 2000 seemed like so far away, and here we are, 2021, and there are things that we want to talk about life insurance. I'm going to have somebody on the program who's going to talk to us about that, because we assume if we see something on Facebook that says people are putting something out there, what do you call it? GoFundMe. We think that, oh my goodness, they didn't even have life insurance for their loved one and all. Sometimes that is not true. Sometimes we can get caught. Insurance can lapse, and a lot of things can happen. And we're going to have somebody come on one day, Francine. I'm trying to book her now so that she can talk about life insurance, because that's something that is very, very important. So we got a lot more to talk about, a lot more to share with you. We hope that you will continue to follow us. I didn't get my promo up before this show, but trust me, the next time that we get ready for a senior sidebar, you're going to know well in advance, so that not only can you tune in, but you can have somebody else with you. Yes, Bernice, life insurance is of the most importance. It really, really is. But you got to be careful that you don't get caught in a gap where you pay for insurance for years and years and years, and then it becomes too expensive. Then you lose it. And where are you? Where are you? So we're going to talk about keeping some of those things from happening to our senior population. But you got to start early. You got to start when you're young. So some things that we're going through as seniors are as a direct result of what we did when we were younger, because we didn't pay attention.
But we didn't know.
Well, that's true. In some cases, we didn't know.
I mean, wasn't taught, it wasn't explained, the importance of it, or what to look for.
That's true. So we're gonna make some. We know that it's not too late to change the decisions.
Never too late.
And it's early enough for you to start some better habits.
Yes.
Will that work?
That will work. Yes.
Well, thank you everybody for being with us tonight for this first segment of our senior sidebar. We're going to do it again sometime, and we're going to let you know well in advance when we do. But until then, just know that I will be here next week. Francine will probably be on the other side of the camera next week. But I hope that you will be with us and come back on next Thursday night at 7 p.m. Turn down the volume of life and be ready to receive, so that when life speaks, you'll speak life. Thank you, Francine.
And thank you for having me. I truly enjoyed this. And I thank you, listeners, for tuning in.
That's right. Good night,
Good
everybody.
night.